Hi everyone. Okay, so I am back in Switzerland. I'm at the train station right now. I'm heading to Lucerne, and I thought it would be a good moment while I was quiet to share with you my journey. I would like to highlight some of the things that I learned along the way, some of the things that I would do differently, some things I'm very happy that I did. But I'll just give you a quick overview of the trip because in itself it was amazing, and I was gone for a month, and I'm back now in beautiful Switzerland. But I left on the 4th of September, and I took the train from Zug, where I was living, to Zurich, and then on to Paris. And that was, 4-hour journey, and very uneventful. I've done it before, but anyway, 4 hours into Paris. And then I took the Eurostar from Paris to London. And that was, again, uneventful, but I love the Eurostar. It's a really fast and a comfortable train, and I had a good time just enjoying the experience. And then I got to London, and I walked actually from King's Cross Station to Euston and got on the overnight Caledonian Express. And this time I decided to go on the chair option. It's like an airplane chair, very affordable. The couchettes are like £200-300 now, super expensive. So I did that, and I got to Edinburgh in the morning, and I had a really nice time in Edinburgh. Excuse me, I'm turning around so that the light is better this way. And I had a really nice time in Edinburgh with friends, family. I won't go into all the detail because it was a personal trip, and it was very meaningful on lots and lots and lots of different levels. But I was there for almost 8 days, which is very surprising for me. I'm usually not in Edinburgh for that long, but I did quite a bit of just wandering around, and I was in this camper van. That's where I stayed on a holiday park for most of that time. But it was fun. It was really good. And I've done videos, of course, of all of this, and you can search them out if you want the detail, but that's the overview. And then I went from there down to London, and I spent some time with Kate, who's a 60andMe sister. I've known her for years, and we become friends, and she's just amazing, really incredible person. And she and her little cat Felix hosted me for the time I was there. But what I did basically from London is I went up and around different places. So I took the overnight train to Penzance, which is right at the very far western part of the UK in Cornwall, and stayed there at the youth hostel. Lost my ring there. I did a video on this, but it was found by someone and they returned it. It was awesome. And I knew it was a really good experience in Penzance. And then I took a train. Oh, there's trains coming in, speaking of trains. I took a train from Penzance to St. Ives. And St. Ives is a very bohemian, artistic town. Great light, big beach, and I stayed some time there. Had a really wonderful time in St. Ives. And then went on to stay the night at the hostel, which was an experience in itself. And it's not just for young people, believe me. There were older couples and women there, had great conversations, and so that was in Penzance. And then I took the train back to Exeter. And which is another really nice city in London, in the UK. But just went to the cathedral there, which is very famous for the Exeter Cathedral, and took some other side trips. I went to a little place called Totnes, which I totally fell in love with. It was so cool. Totnes was like a little seaside, or not seaside, a little hippie town. I mean, it was incredible, bohemian, lots of cool shops, and I think that was actually one of my highlights of the trip. Was Totnes. And then I went back to Bath. I spent 3 days in Bath. And then from there, I pretty much stayed in Bath and then back to London. Now, coincidentally, my family, my son and his wife, and Max and Marvel, my grandkids, were in London during this time. They were homeschooling with a homeschooling group, and they did a tour all over London. And while I was not with them the whole time, I did take 1 day. And also we went to 2 theatre productions while we were in London together. And one was Matilda, which was crazy, very entertaining. And the other was My Neighbor Totoro, which was very different and unusual Japanese style production. So I did that in London, and then of course went back to Amersham, spent time with Kate. We did lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of charity shops. And she took me to some cool little towns. And we just had a lovely time together. We did some National Trust building, incredible, it was a meditation center that was having an open day, and we spent some time there. Again, I've done videos on all of this, so just so if you want more detail, you can get back and do it. Anyway, I got to go catch my train now, so I'm going to go do that, and I'll catch up with you in Luzern. So I'm in Luzern. I'll continue my story, my travel story. So I left the UK in the morning of the, what was it, at the 27th? Anyway, early morning. Crack of dawn, got on the first train from Amersham to King's Cross, which is where the Eurostar goes from. Got on the Eurostar, went to Paris, and the train was running late, so I had to make a decision whether to wait for a taxi and potentially have to really rush, or I'm going to get in the shade here, it's a bit shiny, and or go on the underground from Gare du Nord to Gare de Lyon, which is only 2 stops. It costs like €2, but it's absolutely crazy. Busy, crowded, noisy, complicated, but I did it. I got my pass, and went through to the train. And people were there's something about urban chaos that brings people together, and people were helping each other, and helping with luggage, and anyway, it was crazy. But I got there on time and got on the train to Paris, or to Zurich, and it was a really nice journey home. I met this most amazing person on the train. He was a young man, maybe in his 30s. His name was Gabriel. If you're watching Gabriel, because I told him about 60andMe, and his mom is 70, and we chatted a lot about their relationship, and it was just so nice to be able to contribute to a young person and mentor in some way, and they were really appreciative, and we ended up feeling like after 4 hours on the train, we'd actually really made a connection, and it was really lovely to help him, and he helped me. It was really good, gave me some good advice. But for me, this is one of the joys of travel, is to be able to, as an older woman, break down some of those stereotypes, those aging stereotypes, and connect with young people and older people. But in that case, it was special. So I had a good time chatting with Gabriel, got to Zurich quite late, and then made a connection by train to my son's house, Nathan, where they're living right now, and staying there for a few days until my place in Baden is ready. And this is my first month or 6 weeks in a flexible living situation. We will see. And anyway, right now I'm in Lucerne. I'm going to get on the catamaran and take a ride around the lake. It's really pretty today, and I find it a nice place to work and just to sit and relax. So I'm going to do that. Leaves in a few minutes. So anyway, that was the end of the journey. I'm back home now, and I'll be going to Baden in a couple of days, and I'm going to do a video, maybe I'll even attach it to this one, about things that I took with me that I really appreciated having, and things that I could have done differently. And I guess I'll do a couple right now while they're in my mind, which is travel light. Travel light. You do not need a lot of stuff. I mean, I took so much makeup I didn't need, and I thought I had done such a good job of cutting it down. But of course I bought stuff as I went along, right? And I ended up with way too much. And I had to actually buy a little shoulder bag to carry some of my things. One thing I did do, which really, really helped, was I bought plastic, not compression bags, but little plastic see-through bags, zippered bags. And I used those to put things in categories like, makeup and food and, glasses and medicine. And I had about 8 of these little boxes, and they were only maybe, 6 inches square. And I put those into this new bag and stacked them up in order so I could see. I mean, if I had labels, I would have actually written on the outside what was in them, and I will do that in the future. I mean, it wasn't compression bags, but they were really, really handy for packing. So that was one thing I picked up along the way. And that's really just the first thing about traveling, is just to travel super light. Organize yourself in a way that you've got things labeled. I mean, I know I'm a bit obsessive about labeling, but I'm sorry, it really works for me. And that was like the number one thing I would recommend in terms of traveling solo. And you can pick up everything along the way, but if you've got a little teeny deodorant, little teeny toothpaste, you don't need a ton of stuff. I'm going to go get on my boat now, and then I'll continue with the other tips that I've got for solo travel in Europe. Hi everyone. Okay, continuing the story about tips for travel in Europe. I was just traveling for the last month and I've got some things that I've picked up I want to share. And I've already mentioned traveling light. Now, I used to carry a backpack and I gave up on that a few years ago, but I have a Samsonite bag now that I use all the time. The reason I love it so much is it is a hardcover, and it actually has zippers on both sides. So when you open the suitcase, on one side is a zipper that you can put clothing, on the other side is a zipper, like a little enclosure that you can put your everything else. And I found that having organization in my luggage was so helpful. And I actually improved on it as I went along, because as I mentioned just previously, I had these little plastic containers that I used for various groupings, underwear in one, and then, makeup in another, medicines and vitamins and that kind of thing in another, little one for food. And I use those really, really effectively. And as I mentioned, if I'd had labels, I would have labeled them, because it's so helpful when you look in your suitcase and you can find everything easily. So that was my little tip about luggage. I mean, traveling light, of course, it goes without saying. Also, people use compression bags, but I never use them. I always just use, bring less. I mean, I had 2 pairs of trousers, maybe 3 sweaters, and then just underwear, and of course, and a couple of scarves, 2 berets. I bought bunches of brooches so that I could change those up. But I really found that as I went along, I was able to wash things and didn't need a lot of clothing. I mean, I was traveling from place to place, so nobody was sending notes ahead saying, Margaret's coming and she's wearing that pink sweater again. Oh, I'm itching there, and that's a boat leaving. So anyway, that's one thing. Packing cubes. Another thing is a small crossbody bag with essentials. Now, I'm actually wearing my crossbody bag right here, and it's 3 zippers, 3 little compartments, and I've got everything organized in tiny little packages. In there, I've got everything: copies of my passport and my passport. I've got my addresses, phone numbers, insurance card, everything that, and this basically doesn't leave me. I mean, I wear it everywhere. And when I was in Paris yesterday, for example, I wore it under my coat. And I found that was really useful to feel secure that I could wear under, because even, people have scissors and knives and they cut things and it's crazy. So I never had that challenge or even that concern, but I'm aware. So crossbody bag, passport, meds, phone charger. I have a little charger. This is a phone charger. It's really good. It will get my phone charged, 1 complete go, just a USB charger, and that's in that little bag with me. If everything fits in there. So that's another piece of advice. If you can find one crossbody bag that carries everything. Hotels. Okay, now I am not a luxury hotel person, but I do treat myself now and again. Most of the time, I look for a budget bed and breakfast in England or in Europe, and then I occasionally will get a nice hotel. What happened this time, I went in the YMCA. Fantastic. I had a single room. It was very affordable, really tiny, and I've done a video on that. But that was really a great experience. But most of the time, I just stay in nice hotels. But for me, safety. It's got to be reasonably near the station and in a good, because I'm on trains and off trains, and also in a nice part of town. And I know you can find them. Just use your planning skills, and also don't. Make sure that you know what floor your room is in and whether they have an elevator, because honestly, there's nothing worse, even with a light suitcase, to actually go and have to lug it up 5 stairs. It happened to me in Bath, and because I really wanted to stay in my little favorite place, I took that room. And there were 2 things wrong with that room. One was that it was up 3 stories and I had to carry everything. I'd say, woe is me. It wasn't like that. I didn't have a ton of stuff, but it was work. And if you've got any kind of, mobility issue, be careful about which floor your hotel room is on. I mean, a beautiful hotel, if you've got to climb 3 stories, is not going to work, okay? So I did that. And the other reason that room wasn't good was it wasn't heated, and I got a cold. I genuinely was freezing, and I had to go out and buy a hot water bottle from Boots, the chemist, because I was so cold. And that was not a good thing. I realize I'm holding the phone down. I'll pick it up. This is my backdrop today. I'm sitting outside a restaurant. I'm looking down at my notes. That's why I had it down like that. Anyway, I'm up now. I'm here. So that's it. What else? So book accommodation with elevators. Make sure you know where you are. If you're in a room where you're sharing, ask for a lower bunk. I'm going to be in some hostels in December, and I phoned them ahead. I said, could I please have a lower bunk? I'm an older person, and I didn't make it big deal, but it was like I really wanted their help. Some will allow you to pay a little extra, and since that's only a few dollars in a hostel, it sometimes is really worth the effort to do that. But solo travel doesn't mean uncomfortable travel. It doesn't mean you can plan ahead and do a really good job of getting ready for it. I'm getting my notes here because I'm sitting not at a desk. As you notice, I don't have a place to record anymore, so I'm kind of just talking and walking. Hold on a minute. Next one. Safety action. Pace yourselves. Build in rest into now this isn't really a sort of a practical thing like carry a crossbody or whatever, but really you've got to know your boundaries. And I think as I've gotten older, I keep moving, I keep walking, of course, and I'm so fortunate that, my back is better now and I can walk easily. But just pace yourself, know if you're going to get to a certain place, that you know a way to get back. If you don't want to walk, make sure there's buses, make sure that there's a train. Just plan it. I know maybe I'm an over planner, probably am, but it's really tempting to see everything, to want to go to a city and go all around and do every single thing. But you've got to pace yourself. It's like a menu. You can't eat all the food on the menu, right? You've got to just eat, a starter and this and that. Just go easy and know your boundaries, because there's nothing worse than feeling like you've got somewhere and that you can't get back without walking and you're really, really tired. Taxis are expensive. So anyway, the whole thing, but be prepared. That's the most important thing. Plan like a slow morning and a fast afternoon, or a busy morning and a resting afternoon. Do things that are going to be gentle to your body. I'm not saying as you get older, you've got to make all these special arrangements and whatever, but you need to take care. Okay. Know your boundaries. What else? Don't be afraid of getting on buses. This is one thing that I really learned this time, is that, you can pay a lot of money for tours and even the hop-on buses, and they go the same route as the buses. Just be a little confident, know some basic words in the language, like just where is, où est la toilette, où se trouve la toilette, know how to get to the bus stops, and ask questions. Be careful, of course. Don't go up to someone that doesn't look like they maybe would have your best interests at heart if they knew you were lost, or but just I found, first of all, two people, young people. Go up to young people. They all talk English, mostly because they learn it in school. So you can actually go up to them and ask them for directions, or do you know where this bus goes, or where this bus picks up, and they make the trip really easier for you. Also, older women. I found that there's kind of in England, or where was it? In England, yeah, that every time I asked anybody in Scotland, it was like a little gang got together to help me. It was like, come on over here, help. And that was, we stick together throughout the world. And that's another little point I was going to raise. Just a quick question out there. Does anybody in 60andMe want like an identifier? Oh my gosh, there's some kids. Like, a tote bag, or not a scarf, a beret or hat or something that we could look around and say, oh, she's a 60andMe person, because I get recognized now and again, and I just don't know why, but it's because I have identifying things like a hat and whatever. Would you get? Would that be interesting to anybody? I should raise it as a separate question. Anyway. In addition to asking for help locally, get involved locally. Like Airbnb has these things called experiences. Get a guide. It's a really good source of like a cooking class or a pottery class, something local. One second. Go to grocery stores, local grocery stores. Just dive into the culture. And if you can find a workshop or a class to go to that's going to get you a little exposure to the local people. I went to Jaipur once in India, and we did block printing, with ink, printing, making scarves. But anything that gives you the sense of the place, I think that's really, really powerful. Anyway, I've rambled on so much on this video. It's really too long. I should probably make it into two, but I'm going to leave it as it is, and hope it's been helpful. Share your own situation, share your experiences. If you've traveled in Europe, specifically this is the relevance to me that right now. Tell me what you did, what you found that helped. And if you've traveled other parts of the world, let's just hear your stories. I would really love to hear them. I do hope this has been helpful. I realize I'm looking at the time and it's like a long, long video, but please take care of yourselves out there. Have a great journey wherever you are, and know that I'm by your side. I'm here to give some help, advice, whatever. Just leave comments, and know that I appreciate you very, very much. Check out all our other channels on 16Me. Please give us some support. And I've never asked for any money from you for membership. Just support our Patreon group perhaps, and just let us know you're thinking about us. Okay, everyone, take care.